Good morning, everyone. This is Judith A. Cole. You're listening to Mad Love. Let's get into it. So yesterday, I was taking some things I could no longer use, and I was taking them to Operation Food Search, which is a place that distributes food for people, to people. And I wanted to make food donations, so I go in, and there's a very familiar looking gentleman standing at the desk, and I go, I asked about my food donation, but then I just said, "Did you used to be a politician? You look so familiar." And he goes, "Yes, yes, ma'am. I was. Uh, I think he was a rep in like Normandy or Northwoods, some neighborhood I was very familiar with." And I said, "Yeah, I used to follow you. There were a couple of young politicians that I followed because I thought they were so promising, and you were one of them." And he was young. He was like 20, early 20s. So now he's probably like in his late 20s. And we kept talking. I said, "I'm not just, I was working for the prosecutor's office, so I was following politicians." And I said, "But, after working for a politician, I'm completely disillusioned." And he goes, "Yeah, I met people and I realized I was disillusioned too." I mean, I'm sort of paraphrasing, but he was like, "I met these people, I realized I had to work with them, and a lot of them were not who I thought they were." And I was like, "I know that's right, because I would say St. Louis has a ton of imposter syndrome when it comes to politicians, and maybe every place does now. I don't know. But a lot of these people pretend to be about the people and want to help the people, and they want to do all this stuff for the people until it's time to do something for the people." Right now, everyone's frustrated with our mayor. She has, she was just newly elected when the tornado struck, which I think it was sometime around this time last year. A lot of families are still in tents outside of their homes, or they have tarps on their homes, because there was no help at all. And if I hear, I don't know if you guys are familiar with it, but apparently they still haven't spent the Rams money. We won the lawsuit. We got $500 million. There were ARPA funds. There was a time under the previous mayor that we were sitting on about $1 billion, and nobody knew how to properly spend it. And it took them forever to realize, oh, maybe we should put it in an interest bearing account. Like, these are not sharp folks, and I'm not saying, I'm not trying to, I don't want to rationalize it or, you know, back off of it. That's a not sharp move. Why wouldn't you immediately put it in an interest bearing account? It's like, I don't understand St. Louis. And so then that mayor got voted out, and somehow has managed to carve a reputation as some sort of um, scholar. She's gotten, I think she's at Harvard now teaching a class, which is crazy. Uh, I don't know what's going on with that. And she's also like at WashU, which is another, it's the Midwest Ivy League, and they pattern themselves after the Ivies. So, and it's a pretty competitive school. My brother went there. I worked there 11 years. It is for sharp people. So I don't understand what's happening. This mayor was not impressive in any way, and I'm not certain that she didn't steal money while she was in office. She was another person who was never in town, did a lot of traveling, very snarky on social media, super unprofessional. I don't know. And there she is now, like she's the toast of the scholar world. And so the woman that's replaced her is like this, uh, the total opposite, of short white woman with like, questionable style. Like, she just showed up in like her hippie clothes. And I don't know if there's some rule that once you get into the office, you can't do anything, but she's really struggled. She says yes, she has said yes to data centers, which most people are opposed to because nobody wants that shit in their neighborhood because it poisons the water. She said yes to that, but she still hasn't released enough funds to be impactful to help the tornado victims who are now entering another tornado season still without their homes repaired. I mean, great swaths of the city are unrecognizable. Forest Park is unrecognizable. I mean, that thing sheared down trees that are hundreds of years old. My friend was like, "You think we'll ever see?" I was like, "No. Do you plan on being here another 150 years? We'll never see those trees come back." It's just, I don't know. Politics to me means ineptitude, and I'm not sure what's going on. But the woman hasn't done, we gave her a pass because she had just gotten in there, but now it's like it's been a year. What is taking so long? None of the local politicians have delivered anything on this tornado relief. And if you're waiting on the federal money to show up, you know, they're not even really, I don't think FEMA's even a thing anymore. I don't think you can get relief from the federal government for an emergency anymore. I mean, I think you're supposed to be able to, but I don't know that you can. And I noticed Wesley Bell doesn't talk about it hardly at all. He's doing all kinds of stuff, but he is not talking tornado relief. He has delivered money for Ferguson, according to him. He's doing a health and wellness fair. He's doing a job fair. He's done everything but deliver money for tornado victims. I don't see him going back down there checking on these people either. He hasn't taken any photo ops doing that because it doesn't show that he's doing anything, you know? And it gives you the idea of how limited their power actually is. But also, when you have a mayor, why isn't the mayor talking to the first district congressperson to try to make some solutions? What are y'all doing? I mean, I think that should be the poster for St. Louis politicians. What are y'all doing? Because it looks pretty bleak. And this young man that I was speaking to yesterday, he looked so disillusioned. And I remember his enthusiasm and his optimism when he was starting that. But now he's working for a nonprofit doing like government relations or something. And it's really sad because he was the future. And that's what we've done. We've turned future politicians, people who really are invested, people who really care about their communities, into disillusioned um, employees in another field altogether. And I think if we could undo what we've done with current governments and politicians, what's plainly obvious is the federal government is completely beholden to Israel and probably has been since Kennedy. And there's a very strong uh, contention on the internet who believe Kennedy was assassinated by our government along with Israel because he wanted them to register as a foreign agent. And the reasons why they haven't are still kind of befuddling, 60 plus years later. Like, what's going on? Why is this government of this small place so huge in our country? And you can't hide it right now. It can't be hidden. And I'm not anti anybody. This has nothing to do with Jewish people. This has everything to do with Israel and their agenda that I don't even think is good for Israeli citizens either. I'm not sure who is in charge of this big message that they've been carrying on all these years, but to be completely disruptive in that region and to be a part of all of this mayhem is very concerning. And I'm not sure why people aren't more bothered by it. And why are all the billionaires that are Jewish co-signing this bad behavior? And from what I understand, power and money is the thing. Power and money are the things that drive billionaires more than anything. And after a while, it's less about the money and more about the power and the control. So we have a lot of issues right now being exposed because it's not just one group of evildoers. You know what I mean? Like there are several factions of people who wake up to do evil and they think they're doing the right thing across the globe, trying to control other people, trying to control what you eat, trying to control how you think. And America is really being exposed as fraudulent because, the country I grew up in, we were supposed to be free of censorship, First Amendment. We were supposed to, everybody was so busy worrying about the guns, but what about our words? We are being censored left and right. All these places, YouTube censors you, all the social media censors you. People hate TikTok now because you're stuck in this weird bubble where you're not gonna be able to see what you used to be able to see. What made TikTok great, and I'm not on it. I forgot to delete my account, but I deleted the app. And what made it great was it was unfiltered. And I wasn't doing anything nefarious. It was fun to see people. I'd wake up in the middle of the night and watch people live streaming from Africa. It was cool. I did see that one dude worshiping the devil, and that was strange. I got off of that pretty quick, but I was like, oh, this is how this goes. Some rando is out here obviously channeling Satan, and, but that was allowed to be on. That lets you know how messed up things are. So that could be on, you know. So I don't know. We are living in interesting times, and your attention is required. You have to pay attention. You have to be vigilant, and you cannot lose your hope. I don't. I don't mind losing hope in politics and politicians because I have, and I used to love it. I went to school in D.C. The local news was politics. That's what it was, and you'd watch it from like I think the news came on from 4 to 8 or something crazy, 4 to 7. It was on forever. The local news, and you would just catch these really interesting stories. And I love their newscasters. I can't think of their names now, but there was George Michael. His name was George Michael in the Time Machine or something. He was the sportscaster, but he was cool. And there was an older black gentleman I used to watch. Um, and I watched them. I watched them all. I watched a lot of the news. I was very into politics. I was very into the sport of politics. And now I just think it's ridiculous and phony. And I don't think our votes matter. So there you go. I'm not telling anybody what to do, but I could care less about voting because it's not really what we think it is. And I think these results come in way too fast. You're gonna do a whole country election, and we get the results in a night. I you can't get the results of anything else that fast. I just don't trust it. And maybe I have trust issues, but if I do, it's for a reason. Pay attention, wake up, be alert, know what's going on in the world. Don't engage with it, don't obsess over it. We fight evil by being happy, informed, loving people because they can't stand that. Have an amazing Tuesday, May the 5th, Cinco de Mayo. That's dope. Cinco de Mayo falls on Taco Tuesday. Slow motion. Yes, I get it. I'm late, but anyway, I don't eat Taco Tuesdays. So it's a big deal to me now as I'm saying it. Having a wonderful day. Take care.